Absolutely, yeah. So I understand that, LinkedIn, you can post whatever you want. It's a social media platform at the end of the day. There's a right to freedom of speech, etc. However, just remember it's a professional network. So what are you there for? What is your purpose? And quite often it's to either A, get a job, B, get a promotion, or somehow advance in your career.
All right, welcome everybody to the Whole Night Podcast. This is your host Haytham, and today I have a special guest. Trisha Chapman is with us today to give us some insight about the recruitment trend right now in Dubai, how to do some changes to your CV so it matches the job offers in the region, and so many other things. I'm gonna give you a little backstory about how I discovered Trisha. And so I was doing some research about Dubai. What are the ways I can make a better CV and a better personal brand? And I found Trisha Chapman's YouTube video, and it was one video after the other. I watched the whole thing, and let me tell you, it helped me tremendously. So Trisha, thank you so much for taking the time and doing this.
Hatem, you are absolutely most welcome, and thank you so much for reaching out. It's a pleasure to be able to put your face to the email and to the name. I know we've had a couple of conversations over the WhatsApp, so thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Okay, so we all know what's happening right now. So there's like this new wave of Omicron, or the pandemic is still progressing. How do you see things moving or switching right now that Omicron is spreading, especially in the region?
Do you mean from a work perspective, my dear, or from the virus itself?
From a work perspective, from like recruitment, let's say.
Sure. Well, to be honest with you, I guess especially within the UAE and GCC region itself, recruitment is actually picking up. There's probably more opportunities than ever, maybe at the same level, or if not just above where we were pre-pandemic. So I don't think the new variant is stopping recruitment altogether or hindering it by any means. In essence, it's probably just travel restrictions are back in full swing, or even, limited to what it used to be in the early days. But from a recruitment perspective in general, budgets are still open for the 22 period, and hiring is still at high levels.
Okay, that's great news for anybody seeking opportunities here in Dubai. And I heard that in one of your videos, you said that recruiters, let's say, they prefer people that are already in the country. So what are some of the advice that you can give to people that are still in their home country? Let's say they're arriving in a month or so. How could they prepare themselves prior to arriving to Dubai?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I guess a lot of recruitment companies, or even, the direct hiring from the organizations, are preferring local talent. And why? Because quite often jobs are urgent or deemed to fill on an urgent basis. And second of all, I guess they're trying to limit the amount of influxes or, unnecessary candidates flying into Dubai, just as a result of, various visa restrictions and limiting the number or the spread of the virus. So local talent is always preferred at the moment. It didn't used to be the case, but definitely it's increased as a result of the pandemic. So if you're outside of the country, try to set up interviews, meet and greets, build connections within the UAE region before you come, so that then you can increase your chances of someone requesting you to appear for face-to-face interviews. Or second of all, that once you do land in the country, that you are readily available and you know who you're going to be targeting, because it's so important to be strategic and focused with your job applications, rather than just landing in Dubai and applying for 50 different jobs on a week and inshallah something happens.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's true. And you mentioned before the importance of having like 4 or 5 companies or roles that you're targeting, and that you whatever you do is focused on that, like trying to get that connect with people, maybe your alumni that are already working in these companies, ask for referrals, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I will just elaborate on that. So,
Please.
it's really important when I say focused and strategic. So it's important that you're matching your values with the company's. And what I mean by that is something really simple, such as maybe blockchain or digitalization. If that's the company's strategy for the next, maybe 5 to 10 years, that they want to build themselves up as a market leader within that industry or sector, and you've already got those skill sets, you can help the company flourish to meet and exceed their KPIs and their goals for that 2025 strategy, and build your personal brand and build your CV and job application documents around their core values so that you look like the better candidate right from the get-go.
That's a great point right there. And it's funny you mentioned blockchain. These past months, like it's the talk of everybody. Like I even noticed that on LinkedIn, people are now hiring people, like companies are hiring people for some blockchain like positions, which is, I mean, it's not like a big thing. There's not a lot of people right now in this area, but they are looking for like NFT artists or like blockchain specialists and things from that nature. So yeah, that's it's amazing because there's not a lot of people that are, let's say, experts in that domain.
I just wanted to come back to the blockchain because I really believe that that organizations, you'll be left behind if you're not going to be incorporating this into your platforms and I guess visions. So it's really important that you're keeping up with the times for that domain.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned before that things tend to move slowly here in the UAE. Could you please elaborate on that, because that's very important?
Yeah, sure. So I guess it can be a little bit frustrating for job seekers because, from the time to hire, from the time that you apply, from the application and inquiring online, etc., to actually starting your role can be not time consuming, but it can be a lengthy process. A lot of companies can do, maybe 2, 3, even 4 rounds of interviews before they, finally agree on things. And on top of that, you've got a lot of times you've got to make sure that you're applying within the peak season because of Ramadan. You've got the summer, and then you've got a lot of Westerners, for example, would take the Christmas period off to fly home to their families. So compared to, say, other countries and regions, things can take time depending on when you are applying and when you're in that job market. On the flip side, though, there are a few companies that want things done on an urgent basis, but it's difficult to get your foot in the door on that one just because there's so many applications.
Right. Yes, that's very true. Sometimes I take a look at LinkedIn and there's some job offers like that has been up for 6 weeks and it's still open, and there's over 600 applicants, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Absolutely. And I think that's why it's really important that you are, being strict with the applicant tracking software and making sure that you're meeting that, because so many different companies and organizations put these in place.
Yes, definitely. The ATS, application tracking system. It's funny. The first time I heard that term was in one of your videos. So thank you for that, for putting me on. And I understood the importance of having like keywords and the importance of, let's say, matching the job description with your CV so that you have, let's say, over 80% chances of getting an interview, etc. So yeah, I'm learning.
You have done research. Absolutely. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But no one teaches you this, it's not like you can go to a course, or there's no education in the schooling about how to apply for a job, especially at the university level. So I think it's important that people understand the back end of recruitment and what happens from our perspective.
Right, that's very true. Okay, I just want to touch on LinkedIn a little bit, like quickly. One of your guests, it was a very interesting interview, and she mentioned the fact that a lot of people, maybe 90% of people, won't put content or share content or create content on LinkedIn. So if you do, then you are in the top 10%, and that gives you huge leverage. Do you think it's important to create content, and is it important if we want to create it to be relevant to the field that we're trying to get into or the jobs that we're trying to get into?
Absolutely, yeah. So I understand that, LinkedIn, you can post whatever you want. It's a social media platform at the end of the day. There's a right to freedom of speech, etc. However, just remember it's a professional network. So what are you there for? What is your purpose? And quite often it's to either A, get a job, B, get a promotion, or somehow advance in your career. So it's important that you are attracting the right audience to your LinkedIn profile by putting out the content on there that you're trying to attract in terms of people landing on your page. So it's quite strategic and focused. I know I've said that a lot of times, but I can't stress the importance enough, because to be able to get better opportunities, you need to be matching the content that you're putting on there to what your goals and ambitions are. So again, coming back to the recruitment software, part of the algorithm, or one of the algorithm elements in there, is how frequent you're on the LinkedIn page. So if you haven't logged in for maybe 2 weeks, part of that algorithm might put you back a couple of pages on our screening software. It's like when you type in coffee shops in, say, Dira, right? Or coffee shops Dubai. The location algorithm, or the algorithm in the location, will pop up the coffee shops closest to where you are at that time you searched. And then as you go down to those pages, the various coffee shops further away you are from where you typed it. So it's similar. I hope the analogy is making sense, but if you haven't been on for, say, maybe 2 weeks, you will appear on the recruiter's dashboard further down on the pages on the search engine. So it is important that you are putting in the time and effort to be able to build your personal brand. And of course, the keywords relevant to your industry, because keywords is another part of the algorithm.
Definitely. That's very informative. And when you said about cafes in your area, it's basically also like Google. Like if you have the keywords and you're active, then you rank top 3, top 4. But if not, then you're going to be on page like 12 where nobody goes there, basically. So it makes perfect sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And as you rightly mentioned, so when we were discussing earlier, you've got sometimes 500 applicants. Now, as a recruiter, I don't have the time, or, it's difficult to be able to go through 20 pages of applicants all the way up to page 12 to be able to find or shortlist talent, when I only need, say, 10 to be able to present to my client, but I've got 500.
Right. That's very true. Okay, before we wrap this up, could you please tell people where they can find you? And I know that you have some packages that you offer. Could you give us a little idea about what is it that you offer, please?
It would be my absolute pleasure. So first of all, I do have a dedicated UAE job seeking package, which is a downloadable file, and it's got templates, cover letter pictures, email pictures, various different recruiter lists that you can use. It doesn't involve me within the package. It's just a downloadable file for you to be able to use. And it's on my website, www.impressivecv.com, and it's just under international employment. So that's one option. Or alternatively, you can work with me one-to-one, where I would be able to support you, on a one-to-one basis with your CV, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, and of course, which is probably the most important, a job searching strategy call. So we probably spend about 45 to 50 minutes on a Zoom call discussing, various tips and tricks that you can implement. And of course, LinkedIn, I've got a pretty big presence on the platform there, and I am quite responsive. So feel free to reach out to me on any of those mediums, and I would be more than happy to assist you.
All right, Trisha, thank you so much. I must say that you are the real deal, like they say, seriously. You share a lot, and you're very passionate about what you do, and you are really good at it. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today, and good luck with everything. Thank you so much.
Tim, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You take care and goodness.
You too. Thank you so much.